Hey everybody, it's your friend Sarmate here, and we're back with another episode of Settlement Survival. I hope you're having a fantastic and amazing day today. In this episode, I want to work on some logistical things. We're going to check out the transfer station as well as get our packets expanded and hopefully some baskets as well. In our last episode, we started to get into the knitting workshop, so I have a couple of those things built up, ready to go for us. We're waiting on a couple workers. And there has been a pretty significant change with the UI, as you can tell here. Most of the things that we know are still here. They're just kind of shuffled around a little bit. For example, the health and happiness stuff are now in the middle of the screen instead of being just over here to the left. This circle sunflower looking thing is our tech points. And here's our calendar. And then our timeline up here is basically the same thing. A couple of differences though. So the month here, June, is reflected here, 6. And then these are kind of, I thought they were the seasons. I thought this was going to be fall or autumn and then winter, spring, summer. But that doesn't look like the case because if we're in June right now, that's not autumn. So I'm not really sure what the colors are designating. But you can still see we have a ship here. So it's all the same information, just moved around a little bit. There's one thing that I'm really excited about that they added in. It's right here, search structure. So we can come up over here and let's say we want to build a blacksmith. I think we have to say smithy in this game. Yep, there it is, smithy. So instead of going around and guessing on which thing is for which building, I can finally go to search and we can just do it that way. That's going to be great. I'm going to use that constantly. It'll be very, very nice to have finally. Now, we have all these going on. And then I was looking at our stats here. Our food is starting to dwindle. We're pretty good in the red here. Oh, but before I miss these guys, I absolutely have to accept the immigrants. Our food is starting to dwindle here. So with these immigrants that we just got, I do want to activate another farm. So we're going to go ahead. We have 14 laborers now. We are going to go ahead and put 3 people in there. So instead of it just being lines, now we have these little images of the people. And then we just click on the plus there to add them to the job. And then if we were going to change what seed, we could just go ahead and click on that guy, and then we can pick our new thing, and then it will change. So that's kind of nice there. And then a little bit of the stats of the whatever we're growing here. Here's a sowing season, ripeness, fertilizer. All that stuff is right in here. That's pretty good. Overall, I think the UI update is all right. I don't think it was particularly needed, but I think it looks okay. I do really like that search down here. That's very, very important to me. I'm glad we finally got that. But now that we have the 11 immigrants, we can fill in a couple holes here. So I had some people been dying off, so I wanted to replace some of them. So let's see if we can find a spot here. So here's our smithy. We're doing okay for tools, so we can ignore that. Looks like our clothes are taking a little bit of a hit. So let's go ahead and we'll add another person there. We are doing really great now with domestic fuels and with timber. So I haven't really been chopping down a whole lot of trees. I did take out a few over here. But this is mostly from the one forest farm that we grew in the last episode. 792 timber off this one forest farm. So another thing that I wanted to do was add in an additional forest farm for 4 more people to work. And then we'll be looking really, really great for our timber. And then we can start to do some more things for the calcining kiln and get into that. But for the logistical things that I want to get into, we have 3 points available to us. At first, this UI threw me off a little bit. It was kind of hard to distinguish what we have and what we don't have. The green, we have that. Blue, we don't quite have that. So this is kind of like a bluish green. I would prefer this to be more contrasting colors. I would like a green is fine, but then like maybe make this red or something. Not blue and green. But let's go down to our logistics. And we have warehouse. I would like to get transfer station, basket, and packet expansion. I think we'll do, though, we'll start with transfer station. I think we're going to go ahead and we'll get baskets, and then we'll get our packet expansion. Now, the baskets are going to increase the carry weight by plus 50. And the packet expansion says, enlarge citizens package with increased citizens carrying capacity. Citizens will carry products to warehouses after their backpack is full. Increases it by 80. So between these two things, we're looking pretty good. That's 130. We want to have that extra carry weight. So packet expansion, we're going to add that. Help with our logistical things and moving stuff around. And again, the biggest issue that I'm seeing is we're gathering a lot of water. We're gathering a lot of goods over on this side of the world. But we have to haul everything all the way over here. And I think that's hurting us a little bit. So getting into a little bit more of the logistical efficiency, I think, will be a good help to us. Oh, so with 6 laborers, let's go ahead and get into our knitting workshop here. We are going to go ahead and start with baskets. It's going to take 8 for 4 baskets. That's not terrible. I did also put in rope, so you're over here on the other knitting workshop. And my thought for the rope was going to be for the research institutes, but I'm not seeing that little thing that allows us to use rope. So I think we have to earn that with Carlos. So you can see here in tier 2 with Carlos, we have tequila seeds, agave cloves, tequila, and then rope XP. So yeah, we have to get to Carlos level 2 before any of this. Before we had spirits, we were making spirits from agave, and now this is called tequila seed specifically. So then we make tequila. That's cool. Let's scroll down just to see if there's anything else new. These look all the same. That's the same. Those are the same. So a little tweak for Carlos there. Let's see if anybody else has anything different. We got the bamboo here and then the paper mill. That's nice. That would be really good tier 1 to get into. I feel like that's a little bit different. And we have the nice dense stuff over here. And then let's go check to see if Lorenzo is still useless. Pretty much so. Nothing new in there. And then we have the dates, date sugar, mollusk. A couple of good things over here from Rania. But Carlos is going to be able to provide us with the rope experience. That would be good. So, but I think we'll do this first. I would like to get to bamboo, because bamboo can be made into paper, which would then help with the learning of things. So that serves the same purpose as getting into the rope experience with Carlos. So I don't think that would hurt to do. It looks like our forest farm up north here is almost completed. We'll get a couple more workers on that, put 3 of them on there. Oh, I forgot to mention. So I did have these 2 half pastures in here, and then I was going to put buffalo in here, but I was too slow again, so we lost buffalo and turkey, and so I had to fill it in with an alpaca and with a geese. But what I did is I took the big herd that we had and separated it out into the little herd, and so, now this is a little bit in different location here on the UI, but our current number is at 17 and the max cap is 17. So I was able to move all 17 of those alpaca from this pasture to this pasture, so this one's good to go, instantly making product for us. So I thought that was a good move. I'm glad that we did that. So we have a couple more geese things coming in here, feathers, and then of course some dung. It probably wouldn't be terrible to put in a compost heap over here. So let's compost plant. We'll go ahead and grab that guy, and we'll get a compost plant started up. So this is going to increase the fertility of the land around it. So that's something important to note. But I want to put it up by our farm so we can take advantage of that a little bit. So this is kind of our cemetery spot right now, but I think we can still build in here. That would affect like 3 farms. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll put that one there. So this farm in particular had a spot already for increased fertility. So I'm wondering if the increased fertility from the compost plant area of effect is going to stack on the original one. I'm not even sure if it's still in effect, because you can see here this oat is at 1000, this one's at 910, and before this bottom right one was doing way better. So I think the fertile land may have expired, if that's a thing, because it seems to be the case. I was hoping that these 2 pastures over here were going to be a good boon in our food production, but it looks like we're still kind of lagging a little bit behind. I'm going to go ahead and add another worker to this one, and we'll replace that worker as well, and this one as well. And then we have 5 laborers still, and then we now have 7 farms at 4 people. That's a lot of people working on our farms for us over here. But our food, we got to watch it. How close are we here? We're negative about 1,000. So we got to do a lot of work to get our food keeping up here. Our compost plant ready to roll. Let's go ahead and get some fertilizer started in here. This is going to be a draw on water, which I didn't think of. So we got to make sure that our water is doing great. We're doing better than what we were at the end of the last episode. I haven't really added much, so I'm not sure what happened. But we're doing okay now. We're well in the green with our water. All right, the next thing that we can get into is the transfer station. So this says, can store items. Workers inside will transport stored items to warehouses outside of the range. So we're going to go ahead and get this guy selected. So what we want to do is we are going to bring this transfer station all the way over here. We're going to go ahead and put the transfer station down about right here. Why I like this spot is everything down here is covered, and we also just barely catch the the apiary up here. So we'll be able to move all of these goods with this one transfer station. So we'll do that. They'll get the area cleaned up and we'll get that operating. So what the transfer station does, this has been a confusion spot for a lot of people. So we have the transfer station. If you think of it like a regular old warehouse, just like this guy, the difference being that the transfer station, the worker that is working there, will be able to move the goods that are brought to the transfer station to warehouses that are outside of that transfer station's range. So this warehouse, for example. So all the water and all of the sand and the clay and the reeds and all the stuff that comes out of this area will be then moved to other warehouses throughout the town that are requiring those goods. So if we need water over here for, let's say, the compost plant, the transfer station worker is going to be able to do that for us. So that's the difference with the transfer station and the warehouse. The transfer station allows for a designated worker to move the stuff around, and it's a very handy thing to have working in your town. So that'll be done here in just a second, and then we can show it. We'll get it. We'll show the inventory as goods come in, and we'll see how that works. It should be pretty good. I like those transfer stations. I use those all the time. And the next thing I want to do for some logistical things, I would like to get into delivery. We're a little bit far out from our next technology point. The delivery is going to have workers in the marketplace or small marketplaces automatically deliver food, water, and fuel to nearby citizens. So I like the designated worker doing that delivery stuff. And then after that, a quick porter would be good. Movement speed of logistical workers increased by 20%. And then eventually here, we'll be able to get citizens movement speed plus 10%. So lots of good bonuses up in this little tree area here. So I want to work towards those a little bit more. And hopefully we see an increase in our little bit of an efficiency here in between these two little areas we have. We're looking pretty horrible now all of a sudden on clothing. So we have to fix that. Looks like domestic fuels are still doing all right. And it looks like our regular old tools are kind of slipping. So it says that we are at the cap of 200, which yes, we are. So let's see, we can adjust that. Let's move this to 300. Get a little bit more tooling coming in. And it looks like we're going to need another tailor to keep up with this clothing demand. So let's go ahead and we'll get that thing selected. And then we'll get another tailor built up over here. Shouldn't be too big of a deal. Let's also, while we're going to build something over here, I think a warehouse would be good to have because it's kind of that in-between space of that transfer station that's over here and then the town. So this will be a close warehouse that they can bring goods that maybe need to be there partially. So Maya is taking care of the transfer station. We just got to see what we'll be able to get placed in this inventory, and then we'll be able to show that get moved out. And then we could absolutely designate the storageable items if we want to be more specific. I'm just going to leave everything applicable. I don't really need to designate anything over here. Everything that's on this side of the world, I also want to be over here. So that's what we're going to do. I'm curious to see how this compost plant has been working. Let's see. So we got 56 fertilizer in the last year. And I believe we have all of our farms set up to use fertilizer. Let's see. It looks a little bit different now, of course, the UI. So I don't see exactly where we have fertilizer. So this farm does. Aha, that's our difference. So we have farms and fields. So farms are going to allow you to use fertilizer while the fields are not. So I overlooked that when I was placing these. I meant to do farms on all of these. We could upgrade the field. That's not that huge of a deal. But this one farm is going to get all the fertilizer. So that's not too bad. We'll be able to just leave that. And hopefully we get our oats figured out here. We're down to 3 laborers now. Let's just take a quick peek at our knitting workshop here and the production of our baskets. It looks like we made 108 baskets. That's really great. 443 reeds still in reserve. So let's just see if we click on one of our villagers here. Let's see if they have a basket. It looks like this person does not have a basket, but they have a backpack. Let's see if Vicky is carrying items. We have carry weight, shoes. Oh, and it shows their happiness needs in here. Interesting. We have no tombstones, enough tombstones. We might have to build another cemetery. We should do that for sure. And here's our inventory. We have 150 as a total. So that's pretty great. So this person, I would guess, has the the baskets. Let's click on another person. We'll see if it's any different. Yeah, this person is also at 150. So now that it's not showing the baskets inside the inventory of our citizens, I'm wondering if they're taking effect, or if they have to have the basket showed up in their backpack here. As I click on a couple more of our citizens, I'm not seeing anybody who has the basket equipped, but everybody says 150. So I'm wondering how that's all working now. But we'll get back into the game here, keep progressing and seeing what else we can get into. We have our tailor nearly completed. Again, we're going to be... Oh, now we're looking great. We have a bunch of laborers. So we must have had some people graduate. We're sitting at 15 students at our school. Possibility of needing another school here. We're at 28 kids and we're at 15 students. So that's something that we could absolutely consider doing. So it looks like our tailor is good to go. We'll go ahead and set that up with our rough clothes. What does backpack take? Cotton cloth. Okay, we'll go ahead and do that, and we'll see where that looks like here in a little bit. Yeah, we're way low on our clothing, so let's go ahead and we'll put 2 people into this tailor, and hopefully that will allow us to catch up a little bit for our clothing manufacturing. Let's check our wood. We're looking good with wood. So yes, timber, I'm feeling is really good that we got that working and figured out. We're not struggling so badly with timber. I haven't been building nearly as much, which also plays a huge part in it because we're not using the timber for the buildings. But it's nice to have a stockpile. So here we go. Transfer station has the beeswax and the clay from the sandpit and the apiary. And Maya is carrying those goods to, well, somewhere else. Let's see where they are. We can see Maya working here. And we'll see what they grab. They'll go to the transfer station, pick something up, and then we could watch to see where they carry this. But I'm guessing that this warehouse will have clay or beeswax in it. Let's see. Oh, nothing yet. So we'll just keep our eyes peeled over there. And we'll click on Maya again. We'll see where they go. Ah, they're going right here. This is closer. So yes, there's the beeswax. There's the clay. And so Maya is just going back and forth, moving the goods from the transfer station over to here. Now, this storage yard may need to come out of there because that's kind of pointless. That's not that far away, but it's nice to have the designated worker working on it. We might need to move this storage yard for this warehouse, which we could do pretty easily if we just do this. I'll just take that out like that. And then all those goods will kind of fall to the ground. We'll pick them up. And then since the warehouse is right here, we'll be able to move them right close. Not that big of a deal. And then our transfer station will bring those goods a little bit further into the town, which would be good. As temperature rises, the number of mosquitoes also increases, which makes citizens often bitten and infected with infectious diseases. They are not fatal, but they surely affect citizens' work efficiency, prepare more medicines, or clean area with poor hygiene. Let's do a little bit preventative and clean up. After citizens cleaned up the town thoroughly, mosquitoes were much less and their health was guaranteed. Medical soap plus 200. That's not bad at all. So I did mention logistics and going into delivery. So let's go ahead and we'll do that. And that, it might cause us to consider maybe adding in another vendor. So now that Neil is doing all this work for all these people, I think it would be helpful to Neil if we added in another buddy. So we'll go ahead and we'll do that. 2 people working. Oh, we talked about the cemetery briefly, but I forgot about it promptly after that. So let's go ahead and get a cemetery built up to replace this one. It looks like we got to kind of go way down over here, a little bit farther away than I had before, but it's still a cemetery. It's still fine. We are kind of in the build area of the marketplace over here with this cemetery, but we got a lot of other space that we can continue to work on. So I'm not particularly that concerned with it. Something else that I was considering was doing this, making that a 3rd research institute, and then we'll build our hunter's hut somewhere else. Maybe we'll scoot this one down like over here, and we'll do that. And again, I'm doing that because I want to move these buildings from this space over here so that we have more space to build homes. 13 people are wanting new houses, and our interim housing has 9 out of 24. So we could absolutely build a few more houses. It definitely wouldn't hurt. That's something that I'm considering doing here. Ooh, look at this. So we're getting kind of low on stone. So we're really picking clean our little side of the map here for stone and iron. We have a little bit left over here. I'm just going to go ahead and mark this right now, and we can get those things picked up. So we'll have 2 options. We either build a bridge that come across and grab some more of these rocks, or we consider building a quarry. It looks like we have a couple more rocks over here. I don't have the tech point right now to do a quarry, so maybe we'll have to do that coming up here. But like I said, I want to grab quick porter, and then we'll consider doing something else. We do want to get into mining and get refined fuel and calcining kiln and get these things started up. But I think what we'll do, we'll grab quarry as well. We'll do a quarry, a calcining kiln, and a refined fuel, and that'll be looking awesome. Hopefully that we'll be able to grab those stones and we'll be able to have a little stockpile. But I'm looking at our food here. Now we're at well below 2,000. So we're having food issues on the way. Not quite a huge problem at the moment, but it's definitely getting there. So let's absolutely go ahead and we'll get a couple more people working on our fields out here. And then that's going to leave us with 7 laborers. Might have to add in a few more people there. Oh, we do have this fish over here that we don't currently have anybody working in. We'll go ahead and do that. Oh, select our administrator. These are fancy. Look at that. We have Anne and Abel. Construction material consumption minus 10%. And citizens move speed plus 10%. Well, that's going to be an easy pick on the move speed for sure for me. So we're going to go ahead. We'll get our fishing dock up and operational. Again, we lost a couple workers that we had in there initially. And we'll get that started up, getting a little bit more food. Our timber's looking great. We may need to even kick these back maybe to 2 people apiece because we're doing so good on timber now, which is excellent. I'm very happy about that. That means our housing is getting warm in the wintertime because we have plenty of people working on domestic fuels. Oh, that's something that I could tweak. So I think we do have a couple of chopping houses over here, or sawmills, I think they are, really. Yes, so here they are. So we have this one here. We could adjust this to make planks. We're going to start getting into planks a little bit more. So let's go ahead and we'll do that. And let's increase our cap to 200. So we'll have a little bit of a stockpile of some planks, which would be really good. With the calcining kiln, once we get that figured out, the planks are going to be a more common build item. So we're going to absolutely get prepared for that. We almost have, we got a research institute completed. We got one more person working there. And did we get our hunting hut done? Almost. So this one's almost completed. So we'll get that done. We'll delete this one and then we'll move those 3 workers over here. And then we'll continue to be getting the food from the hunter's hut. It'll just be located in a little bit of a different spot. It's a little change, but nothing too wild. Our cemetery got completed. So once this one's good to go, then that person who was all worried about not having the right tombstones shouldn't be so nervous about it. So that's going to be it for this episode of Settlement Survival. I hope you enjoyed this one. And I hope you have a fantastic and amazing rest of your evening, day, or night. And I'll talk to you again soon.